And we're back. Give it a moment. Give it a moment. There we go. That way the stream is fresh. That way things can be. I can actually like put everything into just one little VOD. So the things I run into with this game is the fact that there's so Overwatch and Marvel Rivals gameplay loop is actually pretty fun. I also played Paladins as well, and it was just pretty simple. And granted, there's you have the maps which are predictable, and you have the modes. And while I do wish success for the game, I also think there's an overbearing issue with it. I also love the graphic of the game too. That way, this is something to do. How do I put this? The game is No Man's Sky right now. For those who do know about No Man's Sky's history, it used to be a whole lot of everything, but a whole lot of nothing. And while No Man's Sky did redeem itself and go up to its, now glory, at the start, it wasn't good. It wasn't fucking good. And it makes me look at the game kind of like, eh. Back then I used to look at it like, this ain't a good game at all. Mechabreak kind of runs into that identity crisis. The gameplay loop is good, but at the same time too, each match you go into is suffering when you first play. Granted, you have the bots that are on easy mode, and you have everything else that's pretty much there. The game's taking a while to load up right now. And it crashed on me. Don't you fucking crash on me. Because it wants to be like Armored Core in a way, but it also wants to still stick to that hero shooter, look to it. Because you have your three healers. Well, you have a half healer, I should say. Like they're like the third of their kit is healing, and that's with Tricera. You got your clear damage dealers. Like you have your range damage dealers, which is Sereneth, Aquila, Narukami, and Inferno. Oh my fucking god! Just run the fucking game. It does not want to work for me. Let me get Stack Up's thing out of here real quick. There we go. But because at the same time, like it plays similar to Armored Core because you have your boost, you have how some of them handle really fast, some of them handle really slow. You have the flight mode ones, and you have the transformable turret mode ones, which are kind of just different modes just to keep things unique. And what I wanted the game to kind of feel like was this hack and slash kind of deal, but it's not really hack and slash. By no means, like I thought this game was going to be one of my mainstay games, but like, hey, guess what's still around on my fucking channel? Fucking War Thunder, of all things. Is it not good? I didn't click start. Probably another glaring issue is the ranking system in. Hey, Gun. Thanks for the 5 bits. The ranking system in Mechabreak is rough as well. But the thing is, it's not punishing enough. It is not punishing enough to even scratch the surface of what I want in the game. And what other players also want in the game. Because, for example, you get there is no D ranking. Actually, there's D ranking protection up until gold, but then after that, it's like, every man for himself. If you lose, you lose. But the thing is, too, you gain more than what you lose at times. At the higher ranks, it's very apparent of, like, if you lose that you lose that. And you just play casual and just kind of keep yourself there. And I grinded all the way up to champion. And right now I'm kind of regretting it. Because I don't have a list of things to discuss. I'm just going to be ranting, basically. I'm just stuck at champion. Like, I was like thinking, okay, I'm gonna be going back down to general, or I think it was general or grandmaster that was right below champion. I can't remember which one it was. And the game keeps on fucking crashing. What's the error report? I just want to talk to players to shut the fuck up because they're not getting paid to win every ranked game. The thing is too. The content creation program also does incentivize the streamers or the people in there to actually make content for this. So like I could actually tell them that I upload the VODs this week, and they'll just probably look at the numbers and just go, "All right, here's your money." The thing is, I know for a fact this game isn't esports ready. And with proving your skill in this game, it's honestly okay. So having the skill in the game, it will show between mech user to mech user. You have some that are aggressive. You have some that aren't as aggressive. You got some that play a little bit differently than you expect, and then some that just play like absolute ass. That's with any person, but the thing is, it's not consistent with each mech. And it's not the play how you want to play kind of style. Like, I could give somebody, Armored Core and give them my build, and they'll figure out a way to, work with my build. Or maybe they'll adjust it in some way. But then again, this is Armored Core we're talking about. This is Armored Core we're talking about when it comes to customizing the mech. But I could tell them how this mech plays from each person to person of like how their weapons work. But if I don't show them the stats, or if they don't know how the game kind of works, the experience is going to vary. There might be some that take advantage of like a heavy character's strength and just rush the enemy. Of just basically soaking up bullets, or some might take advantage of the aggressiveness that you have with lights and just absolutely just dance around a guy. But then there's some that, because they're a light frame, they want to play at range a little bit safer. We gotta wait for the shaders to compile. I just wanted some background stuff to go with. And the thing is, with each mech, the game wants you to play them a specific way. I could try to be aggressive with Aquila, and then I'll absolutely suffer for it. But then again, he's like people say, oh, he's a sniper role, but at the same time, too, the guy looks bulky. Or there's like, what's another good? Let's just go with the simplest character to play as, Tricera. All you have to do is just hold the trigger down and make sure that your howitzer hits. That's all you have to do, and put your shields up and maybe put them away when you're not using them, and that's it. Parry the melees, get the attention of people, and that's basically all your gameplay is. And use your own heals on you or your allies if need be. But the moment you try to play him outside of those strengths, everyone just starts losing their minds. I'm not saying for the payload, like Tricera isn't supposed to sit on it. But there's been some moments in some of the other game modes where you could play aggressive with them and just basically annoy the shit out of someone until they run away from you. Versus just sitting there and taking it and being everyone's little bitch. Or for instance, Inferno is probably the most difficult character to use, but rewards the player with skill, but still hurts them. Let me explain. I'm a huge hater of Inferno in this game. For good reason. For good reason. Because, well, his playstyle is aggressive, but yet people don't know that his style isn't aggressive. Or people think that it's not aggressive because, hey, big laser go burr. So, like, the first time that someone uses Inferno, they won't realize that you can cancel the abilities until they learn about that. But with the rank and sure, you could play, and that's why I implore people to play the challenges and whatnot, so that way they could learn how to play that. But right now, when I look back at that, I just think to myself, holy shit! Why do people have to play a tutorial in a game that already has a tutorial to play this game? And I was thinking to myself, hold up. In Overwatch, all they had to do was look at the guy's kit and then realize, maybe some cool interactions, and that was it. Some people would probably put out videos of just like, hey, did you know with Tracer you could do this to this character, or you could team up with this character to have a funny little interaction. Or even in MOBAs, too. It's like you can combine, like, if you combine Gideon with Narbash, you could absolutely delete the enemy team because they can't escape Narbash's ult while Gideon is using his ult. It's like a little teamwork thing. Now, with Mechabreak, the only weird interactions you can kind of do is, like, Aquila, Welkin. That's about fucking it. There's, like, there's synergy, but there's also there's also no synergy in this game. Because I myself, as an Armored Core player, was like, when you play the Armored Core series, you're basically playing the entire games alone. You yourself are that fucking powerful guy that could take on, 4 mechs at once, and, for story's sake, you get out of there alive. Despite failing time and time again, until you, like, decide to cheese it. Or you do the honorable way. There's multiple ways to solve a problem in those games, but Mechabreak wants you to solve the problem just by focusing all your fire on a mech to kill the mech. And there's only a couple of few mechs that can actually like reliably 1v1 in the game. Like Aleseness, Aquila, Welkin, Panther, Stellaris. Some of the actual damage dealers can 1v1. At the same time, too, some of the other mechs just kind of like lag behind because of that. Stego with his multi-missiles and slow reload, like he does do chunky damage. He does do good damage. But sometimes you have to reposition like up the wazoo. Because you're basically a heavy artillery frame, and that's kind of fucking it. Quite literally, how the game plays is you stick with your team, and you could focus somebody down. You look at any of the other mechs that can reliably 1v1, and they have to just catch someone that's alone, so I mean their allies can't help them, and just pray that you kill them fast enough that they can't get there. Versus like a game like Overwatch, where you have characters that can, kill by themselves. Granted, characters like Mercy in Overwatch. I can't believe I'm defending Overwatch in fucking 2025. Like, characters like Mercy can't, deal with people, but hey, they're supposed to stick near their team. But then you look over at Mechabreak, and guess what? Panaka and Lumine can do that. But guess what? Your most powerful thing in your kit is basically keeping somebody else alive. Because percentage heal is probably the most powerful thing in this game. It's gonna restart, and then I gotta start it up again. Which I think as a whole is kind of a problem, because you have some mechs in this game that can deal damage, but then sometimes you just don't have enough ammo. And this is coming from games that have infinite ammo, like Paladins. It keeps on crashing on me because I updated my drivers recently. I don't know what's fucking wrong with it. To the point where it's like you're shooting a guy for like a little over a minute and he's still alive. And this is very apparent with some characters, like, like, look at any 1v1 against a Tricera and how long it takes for those two to actually kill each other, even with their heals. Let's if I just enable a DirectX tool. And to me, it's frustrating to watch players be frustrated just for trying to play the game. Someone with good aim can make Aquila work. And if... There's a lot of characters that you need to counter each character, too, which is the funnier part. So, like, the gameplay flow is really impacted by what your team picks. So if they have, like, all snipers with... So if you have a team of, like, 2 snipers, 2 flyers, but only 1 tank and 1 healer, well, you better pray that the enemy team has something that those guys can fucking take down, because, well, good fucking luck. It's entirely map dependent too, and it's got to fucking compile shaders again. What the fuck is this shit? I kinda wanna just play this game. There we go. And to be fair, there's some satisfying moments in the game once you get things rolling. But sometimes that win kind of just turns into, if you're alone trying to 1v1 somebody, so, chances are someone's going to come by and say, I need help taking this guy down, just so they can get you out of the fight and they can move on to their next target. Call it a fucking skill issue, but I remember back playing the hero shooters, I could actually just play the game and go ham. Probably the closest I can think about for this game would probably have to be Gundam Battle Operations 2. Reason being, because sometimes you need a team to take on. If everyone was using the same mech, granted, you know, like same unit type, unit types, you know, like you do because it has the rock paper scissors function in it. You know, generals protect the support, raiders try to find the support, but generals try to separate the support from the generals, kind of deal. You don't really see that in the game for how fast some of these mechs are compared to others. So generally, in Gun Battle Operations 2, it's literally just situational awareness and just basically using the little in-game text chat to communicate. And these are preset messages too, mind you. No voice chat in Gun Battle Operations 2, but people may do without text chat. And I was a solo queuer for the longest time in there. To the point I was starting to get props from Japanese players. Granted, I talk some shit, but hey, who doesn't? And there have been moments where sometimes I felt like I was just taking on the entire enemy team while my team was just failing to kill one guy. This happens in Mechabreak especially. Because some people don't know how their weapons work, or they don't know how the mech works entirely. Or it's just a mismatch and you just can't pull yourself away from the fight to even go forward. Like, I saw the Steam review, too, of just... this review of someone who's climbed Operation Verge all the way up to at least Grandmaster rank. I can't speak for anything pertaining to both Mashmac or Ace Arena, but the current situation with Verge is utterly atrocious. And yeah, Operation Verge, aka the 6v6, is probably the mainstay mode of this game. Not only are the lobbies climbing up to Grandmaster are also filled with bot lobbies, but much like Marvel Rivals, even though that game only has such lobbies within its casual mode, Mechabreak does not. There is actually bots in the rank mode, which essentially inflate your ELO via false wins and tempt people to keep playing, but the master rank you quickly come to realize most matches end up being a melee hell of Season's own making. That's the other problem that I see too, with how many ranks that there are and no match, or like no rank regression, or being able to lose ranks. I know someone's gonna fucking argue that you can lose ranks, calm your tits. You can't lose a tier. Much like, you know, you play Rainbow Six Siege, you can go all the way up to Diamond, but then go all the way down to Silver. Which that's happened to me, and it was fucking frustrating when that happened. Stellaris, Welkin, Panther, and partly Elysius have made climbing up to a Grandmaster a complete slog for any player. Either they play mostly ranged or melee. When it comes to range, you end up dispensing more effort taking out melee strikers than they do you. If you play melee, having to duel another melee striker boils down to playing the patience game of waiting for the other to mess up, or waiting for backup in order to arrive to effectively deal with both fluid armor and the striker's health itself. That's the other system I fucking hate in this game, the more I look at it. Granted, yeah, it sucks losing, you know, it kind of sucks, having to deal with damage all the time. But I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real honest. I think they should just get rid of fluid armor. Or at least the fluid armor should be something that just reduces damage to your health. Much like how when snipers shoot you, they deal partial health damage, but they still gotta get to your shield to do full damage. And with a melee frame, you just remove half of the work, or half the effort to just, deal with a mech. With an enemy. When it comes to a ranged mech versus a melee mech, you better pray that you got your hits in before they start wombo comboing on you, and you have the energy to get away from them. But the thing is, too, even the melee is kind of unbalanced in that sense, because here's the thing. If they have more energy than you, because you're trying to keep up with your team and someone catches you off guard, well, whose fault is it at that point? Do you have to, anticipate a melee striker always coming after you at that point, and just basically, go to a crawl while you're trying to get to the objective all the time, or crawling back to your team? To me, that's kind of disappointing. Stellaris has to be one of the most unbalanced melee strikers, and it's clear it's never been through any play testing before release. Yeah, because Stellaris wasn't in any of the betas. At least the open ones. Its kit is completely overblown from a grapple hook that can pull in strikers for a Panther-esque charge attack. Its invisibility is even better than Narukami's, a striker whose whole identity is being a stealth sniper, while also being able to use the exit stagger states, meaning it can escape being targeted most times. Both war blades inflict stagger, meaning it can do so in both close-up and range. Combining all this, Stellaris players can lock on other strikers into a near infinite stagger state and can barely flee when it has that grapple hook to catch up to you. Want to fight back? Too bad. When invisible is waiting to grapple hook and screw you over once again. It is overtuned. The only nerf the striker has is who pilots it. There's a reason why Stellaris players end up getting MVP majority of the time. The striker is one trick money for mouth breathers who want to gain entire lobbies. Which, I get it. He's an assassin type character, and the more I kind of looked at people's gameplay, while at work, it became apparent that this single melee mech kind of just made me realize melee is fucking bullshit in this game. Welcome to Striker, I played myself and I could test it. It makes me feel filthy to play. Most of its kit is fine enough, but the spinning tech needs to be nerfed, which they did nerf, but that was the only energy. Not only does it consume very this means that most Welkins will proceed to put you in their kill box and begin to spin the win. The Welkin failed to get you and summoned you up enough for a Panther or Stellaris to come secure the kill. It's way more balanced when this is Stellaris, but Welkin is still a melee striker that can ruin a Panther, Stellaris lights. Yeah. Which, this is for the melee strikers. Panther isn't as bad, but he's also kind of bullshit, too. Again, as people say, this game is skill-based, but, as you climb up the ranks and you start encountering those, good players, if you don't have a mech to deal with them, well, what's the point? What's the point of having the game play if you have these options here that just screw over the player anyways? If it was to be my guess, I probably would have had it like Armored Core, where you have a ranged option and a melee option. So, you start, poking at the enemy a bit, and then, you start using your melee attacks. And at least this is probably one of the more bullshit characters in this fucking game. I don't care who says it's a fucking skill issue. The fact that you have to kill a character not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times in a single fucking life is bullshit. Not only that, it's probably the most. I'm gonna say it has the most balanced loadout in the game because it can not only does it have ranged options, but it's also got that melee option. It doesn't do as much damage as the others, but still, it has something. If that's the case, that makes the ranked unappealing as a whole. If the introductory phase of the competitive game mode, which should entice you to keep playing, is filled with melee cheese and bot matches to inflate your elo and keep you playing, I'm going to have an issue with it, even if in EDS of Grandmaster is a low rank. At least some game like Marvel Rivals doesn't try to trick me when I play competitive and keeps it to casual exclusively. You haven't beat the tutorial at Grandmaster in this game is like gold, platinum at best, and something like Overwatch. And me as a champion player, it's not fun. The game doesn't feel fun, and looking back, well, except for me rightfully calling someone a certain word, it's just not fun. There'll be games where you focus someone down, but because of not only bullshit characters, but also bullshit heals and bullshit defenses, it just doesn't feel fun. The problem why people are dropping this game like a bad habit goes way beyond just lack of balancing. At least you touched down a lot of the Mexican flaws, but the rock, paper, scissors issues you can find in nearly in young ones and can't really be fixed. That's the core part of their ideal. It's the gameplay that's always going to be like that, especially the foundation of the gameplay. I don't see any rock, paper, scissors when it comes to this game.